What's going on, everyone? I just got up from a nap, but we got some crazy news here. So, Grums, he's done a very good job. By the way, this guy's an OG World of Warcraft developer, as you see, designer, producer, Diablo 2, StarCraft. He's been there since the old days, so he does a great job. Love this dude. So let's get right to it. Now, NIHON University has launched an investigation into a historian and NIHON professor Thomas Lockley, who has deleted his entire social media presence. That says a lot, right? It's like running away. Thomas Lockley appeared on Ubisoft's podcast for Assassin's Creed Shadows and was widely cited in the edit revisions. If you see this right here, Britannica and Wikipedia as the authority on the claim that Yasuke was a samurai. He was later accused of using an alt to edit Wiki to promote his own books and papers. Mike Keith probably is going to accuse NIHON University as being a bunch of racist grifters now. Now, what's interesting is this guy deleting all his accounts. That means he doesn't want to answer anything or deal with confrontation, but you caused a ruckus. So he's trying to be the sly man right now in the wrong way possible. He's not even trying to make amends for anything. So it's almost like he got caught, and now he's just running away, and he doesn't want to deal with, all the circumstances. So he dished out all that, and when it's coming back, he's just running like a coward. That's pretty clear. Now, we're not done here. This is about to get even more interesting. Watch this. So, and he's like, if you enjoy my expos on Thomas Lockley and what is going on in Japan with Assassin's Creed, please subscribe. I'll link some stuff for him too. Now let's go up. Breaking. Thomas Lockley resume is said to have been removed from NIHON University staff list. His NHK television program has also been delisted. Rough Google Translate provided below. It was covered up in seconds. NIHON University erases Associate Professor Lockley's resume. NHK deletes program over Assassin's Creed issue. Man, so it looks like everything we did is working. Because it's reached that far. NIHON University erases Professor Lockley's resume. NHK deletes program over Assassin's Creed issue. So we see that. NIHON University Associate Professor Lockley, who spread the ridiculous ideas of Yasuke and Japanese people were the leaders in slavery to the world in the Assassin's Creed problem, has deleted all his online accounts and fled. NHK is also taking his arguments seriously and making a program about them. Will this turn out to be the first case of fever since Mamoru Samuraguchi? Surprisingly, NHK also produced a program called Black Samurai Yasuke, the African samurai who served Nobunaga. As of July 19, the program is no longer available for viewing. Professor Lockley seems to have written a fictional novel about Black Samurai, but he sold it overseas as historical fact. Professor Lockley's academic paper is 100% fiction. So did NIHON University hire him as an associate professor based on his fictional achievements? Naturally, some people are wondering how Professor Lockley was able to get a job at NIHON University. It would be one thing if Yasuke was black and just a subordinate of Nobunaga, but if things continue as they are, the story that white people were against black slavery but Japanese people were happy to use them could spread. And we all know that's bullshit. Now, looks like Japan is removing misinformation from the internet. It makes you wonder just how many Thomas Lockleys there might be out there rewriting history. Oh yeah. I mean, what do you think that woke agenda crap is? I mean, let's leave video gaming alone. Like I was, posting on my Twitter earlier, and we could go there right now. Though this account hasn't gotten to where I need it to yet, but eventually it's going to get there. I had posted something very interesting. Microsoft is reportedly shutting a major diversity, equity, and inclusion team, according to an email sent by the team's leader to a number of staffs last week, in which they state that companies no longer see DEI programs as business critical. They were shutting that down, and I was like, good, let's get back to real gaming and ignore these morons. Good job, Microsoft. They didn't exist in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, or late 2000s. Just recently. Let's keep gaming free from this garbage and remember who the developers are that have been there since day one. I don't know what that auto thing did when I was typing on my phone, but it wouldn't let me edit it. But basically, it's just to understand that I'm gonna get to that one day too. Right now, I'm still reading that. Basically, it's just to understand that when we were playing games in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, all the way up to like 2010, before this crap came in, nobody was looking at that. We enjoyed it for what it was, and we knew who the developers were. They were Japanese, they were European, and they were American. And the games were amazing. The games still are amazing. You know what I mean? And when you're interfering with an artist's work and forcing them to create something they don't want to create, you mess up the quality of the development. You're forcing people to do something that is not naturally within themselves. Like if somebody said I just wanted to naturally paint some things and just let it come out of my own being, right? You're trying to be creative, right? You just got to let the creative essence kind of like flow through you. When somebody's trying to like rig that and just force it on you, the development is not going to be the same because you are literally forcing the artist and the inspiration inside somebody to just be forced to do something that is just not natural to their environment. Any artist, any poet, any musician would understand. It's like, or painter, right? It's like somebody's getting their painting and I'm just walking around them saying, you better make sure it's this. You better make sure it's this. Like, you get the hell out the room. You know, just let light flow through them and create the way it needs to create. When you're forcing things on somebody, you are literally ruining the quality of development. It's no longer natural and organic, and there's no longer like true love there in what you want to do. It feels like somebody is just forcing you to do that, and that's what a DEI agenda is. That's why it's terrible. So if somebody like wanted to make this story that naturally came up, and these happen to be the characters that came out, that's natural. Um, and that's how gaming was. You know what I mean? It's always been that way. Now you have people trying to force things that don't make sense. Like I recently beat Flintlock Siege of Dawn. And I found out that Sweet Baby was involved in that, and the game actually wasn't too bad. I didn't buy it, by the way. I played it off of Game Pass, so it's a free download. I mean, my Game Pass doesn't expire till next year. And one thing I found out about that um, is that there was a lot of characters in that game that were forced to be dark skinned, but the voice acting was like Caucasian British, and it just didn't make sense. And I'm like, see, it just doesn't feel natural. Now, if there was a natural flow of the game where you had a certain culture that like a color culture that wanted to make video games and develop and program it, and like you heard the voice that fit the character on there and it felt more natural and organic, that would make more sense. But when it feels forced, it just kind of feels out of place. And I feel like that game actually had more potential than it should have had. But like I said, when all that stuff gets involved, it's just not the same. And I think a lot of people that are intelligent can see that. Like it just needs to get out the way. Let gaming be gaming. Take that political garbage elsewhere. I don't like it. But let's continue here. So we're not done here. Gamers win again. Thomas Lockley has been taken down in Japan for his fake history. 2 years to stop DEI in gaming. You can do it. Don't buy Assassin's Creed Shadows. Don't buy Star Wars Outlaws. Don't buy anything on a DEI detected. NIHON University Professor Lockley spread that lie that Japanese people were leaders in slavery to the world in response to this uproar. NIHON University has removed, his record, and NHK removed the program. I hope that NHK will be called to testify and find out why they tried to spread the lie that Japan enslaved black people, which they didn't. Game over. Thank you for playing. Now, okay, so the interesting thing about this, y'all, too, is that as being a Japanese university, obviously this is the right thing to do, right? Because they don't want to be held responsible for spreading live Japanese culture with a foreigner. That would look terrible for Japan. And it's a university, for God's sake. So them doing all this to me seems like it's the right thing to do. Um, and if I was a leader in Japan, or if I was like Japanese, I'd make sure to go a little bit farther than that and find out what the hell was the motive behind this, and how did he even get to go that far. So I think you guys see what I mean, right? Like, obviously that would just be the right thing to do. So yes, gamers do win, but I would say from a public perspective, it's the intelligent move to make. Leaving that there would just be bad. So I just see that as being like kind of obvious when things get that far and people start finding out that that's where he was at. So of course they're going to do that. But all in all, it is good to know that. And then you see he freezed his accounts, he deleted it, and he left. So obviously this guy got caught playing the villain, tried to appear to be nice. It's like I was telling you in the other video, be careful with people like him. He's a victimizer. And then he wanted to just mess around with history and then go along into like Western crowds of colored people and just go to them and fill their minds up with this fantasy and then go in the back like, ha 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 ha, I got you bastards. Now give me my money and I'm going to, do what I want to do. And then same thing with Ubisoft, you know what I mean? This is the agenda like that they're pushing. Like that's literally him. He's a fucking trickster. You know what I mean? He's a clown. And like that's literally who he is deep down inside, no matter how he tries to appear to you, because you can't go do all that and then fabricate this and then disappear like that. It's like, come on, man. We know better than that. But this is why we have to fight for stuff too and make it more known and spread it out, because the more you do that, the more people that are in those positions are going to want to do things like this. It's not wrong that this happened on any means necessary. This is all awesome, you know what I mean? And this is what happens when you don't back down and you put the pressure on people and you put the truth out there everywhere. The higher powers that be, in the heavenly realms are going to make sure this gets out. You see, there's a saying, y'all. Everything done in the darkness gets brought to the light. Your sins do catch up with you, as you see. Pay attention to that. Running from your sins is like trying to run from your shadow behind you. You can't run forever. Eventually, you're going to get caught. So, he can run all he wants, but guess what? He can't run too far. And he could run to the grave, and the other side is waiting. He has to make amends. It's the right thing to do. That's why this universe is actually justified by the Creator. The Creator is justice. Light is justice. You can't get away with anything in this world. Don't think that you can. Even if you think nobody's looking, your shadow is looking. I'm just going to be deep on it with y'all about that. You know what I mean? It's just like this world is set up to where, and a lot of people just don't know, you can't get away with doing wrong to people. And you can't get away with just fucking over people and thinking that you're just going to go on in your life. And even if you did think you got away with this life, you just go to the grave and it's all over. That's not how it works. And the more y'all start to develop and grow, you will start to realize you can't just do this type of stuff and think that you're going to get that money and then it's all good. It's not how it works. But yes, Grums is awesome. He's constantly like involved in this. He didn't have to be, but he's doing the right thing, just like me, because we know, we need to bring justice. We need to bring this into light. We need to spread this as far as possible. And we need to let the world know that this is wrong. So, another thing right here is a famous Japanese comedian with over 3 million followers has spoken out with his concerns about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Atsushi Tamura is part of a company duo, London Boots 123 Ranbu. The issue with Ubisoft is now nuclear level in Japan. So now you have people that are famous helping to spread this. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, if you are a leader with a lot of influence and you have a big base and a lot of followers, this is why I need to get big and I will continue to get big. You need to do these type of things. So he wrote, you see right here, he has 3.2 million followers. So he wrote down here on his Twitter, the game Assassin's Creed Shadows is a disrespect for Japanese culture. Suspicion of unauthorized use of cultural property. It started with questions like, is it fiction or nonfiction? The various things came to light and it developed into a problem outside the game. I learned that it has developed into a problem that the unacceptable historical perception of Yusuke, a black man who served Oda Nobunaga, is spreading around the world. I'm very sorry that I was not able to dive deeper into this during last week's Abipura broadcast. Until now, I had thought that it was fiction. It was fine to depict it however you wanted within the work. But I realized that the problem this time was that even though there were no sources or documents, descriptions created from imagination were being recognized as if they were historical fact. See, this is the problem. And a path was being created for them to be recognized, and that this information was spreading throughout the world. I have never played this game, but as a Japanese citizen who became interested in castles when I was in elementary school, and then in Japan's Sengoku period, and has since developed a love for Japanese history, I would like to speak out about this issue. I would like to thank everyone who has used such clear and polite language to help me change my perception. If there is anyone who is angry that my understanding does not extend beyond their own and resorts to emotional verbal abuse, guys, don't do that. I would like to request disclosure of information and take appropriate action. And that's the thing too. Like I've dealt with this too, where people get mad. They come in, they try to cuss me out on my page. Some Africans, African Americans, and you know, because Ubisoft has done a number on them, and then some of them willingly are just that ignorant. Try to do better and realize to educate yourself first. Look around, gather some information, see what the problem is, listen to the Japanese culture, listen to everything that's being said, and then you need to make your reflection. If all you want to do is verbally assault someone, you are showing that you have a low intelligence and that you're not that developed. And that all these facts that were presented in front of you through all my videos and all around the world, all that is ignored, and you just want to send out ignorance. I want you to think about that and how the whole world is viewing you and your culture. So if you want to be represented and seen as more intelligent, learn to do things like that so that you can develop and grow. If you want to just insult people because you can't handle a real conversation, then you're just not seen as somebody to be taken serious or intelligent. You'll be seen as undeveloped, not willing to listen to reason, and most of all, one of the worst things is not having self-correction. Self-correction is incredibly important in this world, because if you don't correct yourself from steering off the path and being wrong and realizing that, you're going to stay in that and you're never going to grow. But then hundreds of years can pass by and you'll still be the same, repeating the same thing over and over again and never listening and realizing and growing, because you blocked yourself off from doing that. So that's why ignorance, really doesn't have a limit, and it's a deadly virus at that point. So that's the thing that I encourage certain people to do if you want to grow and develop more, is that you have to learn how to have empathy and know how to look from other people's point of view, and then realize and see the bigger picture, rather than thinking in a closed, boxed mindset. Life is about the bigger picture. When you make decisions and do things, you have to see how it affects the mass scale. Like, so the bigger issue here is what is being done to Japanese culture, how they're being insulted, how the Japanese male is being just insulted big time, how he has no place in his own history, and how they can just come in there and do whatever they want with their history, steal things, and also victimize people, and give me millions and millions and millions of dollars for doing that. You see what I'm saying? Not that, oh, you have a problem because he's a black guy. It's like, first of all, he's African and he's from Africa, and he does not represent African America at all, and has nothing to do with that, because in that time period you don't exist. So it's like, not gonna buy that. Two, the only reason you know about him, period, is because of Japan. And because of that history, it stemmed into an anime that people enjoyed called Afro Samurai. You see, this is doing everything in the correct and intelligent manner. I have a high IQ, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying, when I do something, I want to do it from the highest level of intelligence. I do not want to get polarized. I refuse to be brainwashed. I refuse to be victimized. That's not going to happen. That's an insult to my intelligence. So we have to realize all those things, and then we have to realize, wait, what are we defending and fighting over, and who's the real issue here? It's going to be Ubisoft. So that was good at what Grums did. And then last but not least, look what happened with Japan and Assassin's Creed Shadow was horrible. Real history was revised and written to fit the narrative of a video game. You see, that's the problem here. So for people that want to just go and say, oh, no, it's just a video game. Well, if that was the case, then real history would have never been messed with. So no, they went far beyond that point. I'm not trying to hear that. When they tried to support it with experts, the leading expert turned out to be fake. This is not just about a video game character, as I just stated. This is about how DEI is so insane that they will revise history to support a fake narrative, insulting an entire nation in the process. This is why we fight. It's insanity. You see, because you got people that don't understand the Japanese spirit, and then some that don't even care. They just want to defend that it's Yasuke being black, and that's all it's about. And it's like, that's a barbaric, low intelligent mindset. You have to educate yourself way more. And realize what I just said and what he just said, and realize what this is about. Because, it's almost like you could literally consistently put this in front of their face for weeks and upon weeks and months, and then they will still resort back to that and reflect that. And it's just like, at that point, there's some people I've talked to some people, they're like, man, I just feel sorry for somebody like that, because it's like, I can't believe somebody's that slow. Like, that you keep on showing that, and then they still only reflect from that, and it's like they're stuck in it, like they're possessed or something, and they need to wake up. And that's where I say that this victimization is very deep. It's not just, you can't just blame victimization too, because you just have to think about them as an individual and just be like, yeah, that just says a lot about you. Because as you put somebody to sleep, somebody can wake them up. And there's some people that sometimes refuse to wake up. And they're just going to be like that. And that's just pretty sad. But all in all, yeah, glad to bring this out to you guys. Now, what I'm working on next is another video about this gentleman over here. He brought some things to light. As you see, it's kind of blowing up right here. I'm going to get to that. I'm not done reading it because I want to do this correctly so I can translate things correctly, because I have to do it in auto translation and I have to read this other blog. But I'm going to get to that, and I know about it. And people were actually telling me about it. And yeah, guys, I know about it. I've been looking into it. But I had to do some other stuff. But all in all, I'm glad to share this. And hopefully this is good news for y'all. And I will be linking his Twitter in my bio. And I also will be keeping everything up to date. All right, y'all. Peace out. Have a good day. Good night, wherever you're at around the world.